Hello everyone, Maurice and welcome to Things and Invest. Talk about investing, finance, fresh environment. For today's video, terms only. The investment I'm going to talk about today would be Ethereum ticker ETH. With respect to the recording time around 4:36 p.m. on Eastern time right now, Ethereum's kind of trading around like the $1986 level, up about 5.37%. With respect to the negative CPI report that we received recently, obviously with the negative depictions and investment sentiment has been kind of a more of a better sign on the inflationary pressure that would be foreshadowing going forward. Also, with respect to the quantitative tightening that's expected to debut somewhere around like 6 to 9 months out, which subsequently drive some sell-off across the crypto market and the equity market. And yesterday, the volume on the crypto side, especially for Ethereum, was relatively low. We hit down all the way, as the U.S. market sold off and the international market start to pick up. That around like 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. on the Eastern time when I was still asleep, that we hit down all the way to the very strong resistance level, right, the $1,850 level, and subsequently rebound extremely sharply. That for those that actually got in at the $1,860, $1,870 level, really congratulations to you. You guys are already making a relatively good return, right, depending on how many Ethereum you obviously bought, right? But at least, if you bought one, at least a couple $100 or about $150 so far, depending on what level we sold today, right? In respect to us, I'm recording about 4:38 p.m. right now. I think with respect to the news, collectively speaking, I took a look at the collective news in a media affectation perspective. Is across the board is a relatively more neutral. We obviously have some positive news, with respect to the Brazil Ethereum ETF that's debuted in Sao Paulo today, which is a massive news that the South American region is slowly adopting this asset, specifically Ethereum, on a macro perspective. And also, we got some news with respect to the more of a supplement news on the London fork that's expected to debut on August 4th. That was coming out from Cointelegraph again, which Cointelegraph is definitely a questionable media affectation. But today was a positive news that we heard from the media publication company. So good for us, as long-term investors, obviously, right? And then we had some news with respect to more of like a foreshadow negative news with respect to U.S. potentially, enforcing some regulatory framework for stable coins, right? More things like Bitcoin, obviously, which is a stable coin. But I think Ethereum, as it further progresses over time, as the value proposition further progress and structuralize going forward, is going to be characterized as more of a stable coin going forward, right? So it seems like right now we are kind of testing the $2,000 level, which we touched that, for a glimpse today. We didn't really reach all the way. We were at all-time high today was the $2,019 level, which, was hovering between like the $2,050 level and the $2,000 level. And because of the fact that $2,000 level is not really a substantive level, right? It's just a flat psychological number. We subsequently sell back down to the 1985 because we didn't have enough momentum, despite the Brazil news and some other media affectation that propel Ethereum to go up today, that we didn't reach the $2,050, that if you don't get there, you typically have a propensity to sell back down. So I'm going to go through a technical analysis again to see how we're trending going forward, right? How the TNA, the technical analysis, shaking out going forward with respect to media affectation that we should be expecting. And obviously with respect to the weekend that's expecting in, tomorrow's a Thursday. But Friday, Saturday is coming up in the subsequent days, so we have to watch out for that as well ahead of the summit that's expected to debut on the 21st. So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. Moving on to the technical analysis for Ethereum ticker ETH, I'm recording us off 4:40 p.m. on Eastern time right now. Currently trading around like the $1985 level, up about 5.37% with respect to rebound that we had yesterday, from the 1850 at one point, which is a very strong consolidation level that we've tested a lot of times historically, that we subsequently rebound because of that sharp recovery that we had and some positive news that also baked into the equation, right? And just to supplement this a little bit more, you can see that today's SPY was basically flat. We didn't really do anything, but we are expecting some sort of a correction coming. This is highly overstretched. We are overbought on the RSI perspective, also on the MACD perspective. NASDAQ, I think, is even worse. We actually crossed already. If you look closely, right, we crossed, and we've been derating for a long time. that I do see some sort of a correction coming for Nasdaq. So shorting Nasdaq at this moment right now wouldn't be, a bad idea, to be honest with you. Again, not financial advice, but that's just what the technical analysis is telling me. I'm not saying anything biased. This is a typical occurrence like during summertime, and we might see a crash coming. Not a crash, but more of like a correction. I think it's a healthy correction. Happen around like August or September, and then subsequent rebound for that Santa Claus rally that typically happened in Q4. It's a typical logical play, and more of a sector rotation play for a hedge fund. With the window dressing they typically like to do year end. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that occurrence. So with respect to Ethereum, we are trading $1985 level right now. We are struggling to break above the 2,000, which we tried today. But again, the $2,000, as I keep mentioning, is not a level that is a substantive consolidation level, right? The real level is the 2,050, right? We didn't break it. We didn't get there today, so we have to go back down, right? The ping pong ball either go up all the way or go down all the way, right? You never go between the ball, like the court. You always you don't ever float in between, right? You're not like levitating. So what I see going forward, with respect to today's more relatively green day. Tomorrow, I think despite the CPI report was relatively negative, and I think the selling pressure is already occurring across the board. With respect to Tesla down about 2.27%, with respect to NEO down about 4.25%. So I'm bleeding like crazy today. That I should see some sort of a buying pressure tomorrow. Despite, again, right, overall the indexes are kind of overbought, that we should be seeing some sort of sell-off. But I don't think the sell-off is going to happen like tomorrow. I think we're going to see some buying pressure tomorrow that will subsequently maybe drive a form of anti-correlation effects towards crypto, because of today we were up relatively high, right? So if you actually bought in at the $18.58 level or somewhere around there, I think selling today wouldn't be a bad idea, to be honest with you. But with respect to if you're holding this over long term, I think dollar cost averaging at these levels wouldn't be a bad idea either, right? I think the next level that would ideally go back to would be the 1900 or the 1960 again, right? The next level of consolidation, not as substantive as the 1900, obviously, but the 1960. I think we have a propensity to go there by tomorrow. And I think we need to watch out for the Friday and Saturday. Would I be buying it now? Right, I think we might see a little bit more selling pressure, right? And the frames are really here. We have identified it here, right? Firstly, you can see that MACD is crossed or slowly crossing. Good sign is that the RSI is kind of neutral right now, but we still have some more room to drop to the to lower level. That I do see some sell-off coming, and I think it's very logical for us to potentially test 1850 by Friday or Saturday, or even potentially 1750. But 1750 would be highly oversold by that point. That it will be relatively sharp in recovery. And again, right, I think if we get there, that will be a really good level to DCA again. But how lucky can you be? And without worrying about your Coinbase app or whatever app that you use crashing on you, because I feel like whales are definitely watching whenever we go into a certain depleting level, that they like to shut off and glitch us, that we don't get to purchase on an like the ideal price that we like to buy it, right? And it's also like kind of frustrating that whenever you execute a price, let's say you buy at 2,000, right? But the price point that they execute is typically a little bit higher, like $2,007 or $2,014. It's always a little high, right? So it's frustrating. It is what it is. But they could negotiate with us all they want, right? They could be like, oh, because of timing, because of execution price, because of the exchange, we can only give you the strike price at the ideal level of the exchange, and we don't have full transparency of the dynamics of it. So it's difficult for them to obviously negotiate or try to argue with you. Nor do you want to be arguing. If you think about this long term, like a couple of dollars is not a bad thing. But if you talk about collectively, talk about like millions of people doing that, that's a lot of money collectively that can accumulate as a margin that they can just collect from there, right? So definitely something shady going on. It's frustrating, and obviously us collectively, we are cautious and we are aware of the situation. So as we work together as a village, we can contest with these firms going forward. But we need your voice, and we need to put our voices together to collectively fight this battle going forward, right? So regulation is definitely something that is needed, but obviously it's a counterintuitive subject matter because cryptocurrency is decentralized and there isn't a full structuralized type of a regulatory system in place for something like this. So it's a conundrum that we have to battle with. But just a thought. Right, just to recap on all the numbers. Again, the $1960 is the level of the next consolidation level that we should be dollar cost averaging at if you think about this long term. However, with respect to the MACD and RSI right now, and also with the weekend affectation, I think the RSI needs to deplete a little bit more before the rally coming ahead of the London fork on August 4th. So I think ideally going down to like the 1900, which is a more solidified level for us to consolidate and dollar cost average, would be more ideal and more attractive, to be honest with you, right? I think 1850 or 1750, we did get to 1850 last night at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. Eastern time. I think we might actually get there again. So if you have some cash, I would actually hold on the side right now and see, what areas we can get to by this Friday or Saturday, right? But again, right, the black swan news that happens, that sometimes like kind of jerks us around. So we have to watch that, and to do that is to logically look at the chart on the resistance levels of where we're bouncing, right? And by doing that, you are obviously maneuvering, and you know how the strategic play comes out to be, right? That you're not like kind of guessing or you just gambling, if you may, right? So with respect to corporate option, 20%, 9,800, 5 times your money if you buy the $1960 level 12 months from now. All right, so that's it for today. With respect to my technical analysis on Ethereum again. I know I posted like 3 times today because one video was actually glitching. I don't know what happened. YouTube didn't allow some people to watch it on their phone, so I wanted to repost it. But there were some people leaving the comments. I didn't want to just like delete the comments and make people like double guess. So I just left it there. So apologies if I was confusing, or I made some inconvenience on your part. And again, tomorrow I am filming with CNBC, the reporter. So I'm going to be spending the day out from like 9:30 a.m. all the way to possibly 4:30 p.m. But filming is always they always do overtime because of you have to reshoot, or like the lighting was bad or whatever, right? So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully I can squeeze some time in between or come home earlier tomorrow to keep you guys updated. But I really appreciate you guys for joining me today, and please hit the like button, subscribe button, and the bell notification, and watch out for the next coming up. Take care. Bye.